Blam!
Death cakes.
Let me just start out by saying I love comic book movies. I want all of them to do well. I like Marvel. I like the DC comic characters. But this Batman v Superman, I really, really did not like. As far as positives, there's not a whole lot I can say. Mostly because pretty much every scene that should have been cool had already been spoiled in trailers or other promotional material. So by the time I saw it in the movie, I knew it was coming. I had already seen it before, so there was really nothing to cheer about. There were only two moments that stood out to me as awesome. One was there was a part during the fight where Batman, he's punching Superman after he's been weakened by kryptonite, and you see with every punch Batman is giving him, you see Superman getting stronger and stronger until eventually Batman is just punching this brick wall that is Superman's jaw. The other part came right before, spoilers, Superman died, and Henry Cavill has a great scene, just a small exchange with Amy Adams that kind of gives you a glimpse on how good Henry Cavill could be as a Superman if it was done right. Now to the things that stood out as negative to me. First off, there were far too many dream sequences, future nightmare visions, and flashbacks, including at one point during the movie there was a flashback within a flashback where Ben Affleck, as Batman, was remembering back to where he was a boy at his parents' funeral, remembering back to the night that his parents died. All in all, these unnecessary flashbacks and dream sequences and all that led to what I felt like was the biggest problem with this movie. It was surprisingly boring. And don't get me wrong, this movie is overstuffed, but it's overstuffed with boring plot lines that don't seem to go anywhere, like the whole machinations of the Scoot McNairy, Holly Hunter storyline, the Lois Lane African bullet plot thing, and I mean even the whole Batman trying to steal Lex Luthor's top secret flash drive and then getting the flash drive stolen by Wonder Woman, and then Batman's got to go get the flash drive back from Wonder Woman. I mean, it's great that we get to have Batman and Wonder Woman in a movie, but can't we have them do something more riveting than fighting over a flash drive? They also spend a large amount of the movie trying to explain the motivations of these characters, why Batman wants to fight Superman, why Superman doesn't like Batman, and why Lex Luthor doesn't like Superman. However, all of the time spent on this seems wasted because you walk out of this movie still not really knowing why people are doing what they're doing. The reasoning seemed both convoluted and paper thin at the same time. And the reason that Batman and Superman stop fighting is even worse. Lex Luthor is no different either. I mean, every time we see him, he's spouting off some crazy rant about gods and devils and angels and demons and his father's old room and jars full of piss. But after all of that, we still don't know why he does what he does. Does he hate Superman? Is he afraid of Superman? Does he think he can control Superman? Is he actually trying to get them to work together? Does he hate Batman? You just don't know. He just seems like a crazy lunatic who somehow was smart enough to put this all together. Let's talk about the characters, though. I thought Ben Affleck was actually very good in this movie. He was very good at playing this version of Batman, which I feel is a horrible mischaracterization of Batman. But he does a good job at playing what they have him play in this movie, which is a Batman who is just a cruel a-hole who has absolutely no reservations about killing. Not only does he indiscriminately smash his Batmobile into cars and blow things up and machine gun down criminals, he also decides that he's going to kill Superman for seemingly no reason. I mean, how much time did we spend in the Nolan movies learning that Batman is this guy who doesn't have to kill or is above killing in some way, and then in this movie, he's killing people left and right. One of my biggest pet peeves, though, about the Nolan movies was that his Batman never seemed very bright. He was always getting tricked. It always took him forever to figure things out, and I feel like this Batman is no different. He plays right into Jesse Eisenberg's hand, which is completely unbelievable, seeing as how insane Jesse Eisenberg seems. But Bruce Wayne in this movie seems, just as crazy. Superman, on the other hand, I felt bad for poor Henry Cavill, who in another world, I feel like he would be an excellent Superman. And we see flashes of it in Man of Steel, and we even see little tiny glimmers of it in this movie. But this movie is too busy making him stand around and look all grimacy and mean, which I don't feel Henry Cavill can pull off very well.
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy.
Now, Luthor is the one that hurts me the most. Because, we've seen great Supermans. We've had great Batmans. But between Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey's con man style Luthors, I don't feel like we've ever had a Luthor that was very on base with the comic books. And the comic book Luthor is a character as rich and compelling as the Joker. But Eisenberg in this movie, man, he went for it. You can't fault the guy for going for it, but he's kind of supposed to be like this young, hip, eccentric CEO of a successful tech company. But he comes off as somebody who is just insane, and I have a hard time believing that anybody, let alone members of the Senate, the military, and Russian mercenaries, could take him seriously. Now let me talk about Doomsday. Nobody is going to get this, but I've got to say it anyways. Walking out of this movie, Doomsday looked a lot more like Charcoal, the fan-created member of the Thunderbolts, than Doomsday. Not that I have a problem with it. I always had a soft spot for Charcoal myself, but personally, I think Doomsday was a better designed character, so I don't know why you just wouldn't go with that design. But the real crime with Doomsday in this movie is that he is wasted, along with the Death of Superman storyline, too early. Sure, Death of Superman's not the best Superman story, but it is one of his biggest ones. But for it to work, you're going to need a Superman that the world loves. You're going to need a Superman that the audience loves. And, we barely know this Henry Cavill Superman. We got one movie with him where he destroys half the city, and everybody seems to hate him in the beginning of this movie. I just feel like it was a waste of a good storyline that they can't use later on now. The last little bit about characters I want to say is I want to mention Wonder Woman. Hey, I'm glad Wonder Woman is in a movie. It's awesome that they put her in here. I have some problems with it, though. These are things that probably will just bother me, but as I'm watching this movie, and I'm watching her, walking around covertly infiltrating these fancy dinner parties, stealing these flash drives, I'm thinking, this is just not Wonder Woman to me. Wonder Woman is she's an Amazonian warrior princess. What does she even know what a flash drive is? Why is she going covert, undercover at this dinner party? Wonder Woman seems like the type of, character that would just, if somebody had something that she wanted, she'd just come up to them and take it from them. Just like the other characters, they're changing them on a whim and expecting us as the fans to go see this movie, to support this movie, To defend this movie when it gets bad reviews, there's nothing that irritates me more is when they take license with these characters and turn them into something they're not because they think that what they are is stupid and it needs to be turned into something that's better, and then they make a bad movie. If you're going to change them, at least make it a good movie. But that's the end of my rant on Batman v Superman. Let me know in the comments below. Tell me how I'm an idiot, or let me know if you agree with me. But make sure you like and subscribe. And I've been Jackson. And then you see a shadowy figure come in. You know, you see some military boots come in, and come down next to Ward, and then you see a shadowy figure like flick, put a cigar out on Ward's body. And then he puts 2 more bullets in him. We pan up and we see that this shadowy figure is none other than David Hasselhoff.
The original Nick Fury.